Hi, I'm Nick, and today what we're gonna do is we're gonna cook pork stew with fermented bean curd, or Daoju pork. And it's a Hakka Peranakan combination dish, which is quite close to my heritage. I literally learned it from my mom a couple of years back, and after moving back to Singapore, and I fell in love with that. Growing up, my mom was like a really good cook, so she always cooks like a whole variety of different cuisines, and this is kind of one of the dishes that really stood out. This dish is extremely easy to cook. I mean, the ingredients take no time to prepare, and like the cooking, you just leave it in a pot and it's ready to go. So apart from it tasting really, really nice and it having a whole different myriad of combinations of textures and flavors, it's also preparable within 30 minutes. So every good Asian dish starts with a mortar and pestle, and this is no exception. We're going to start with a head of garlic, we're going to put it in, and the next step, after mashing it up a little bit, alright, is we need some lemongrass. 1 or 2 pieces of lemongrass is enough for this particular dish. I'm only going to use the very tender parts of it. Now that we're done chopping up all the lemongrass, we're going to dump it into the mortar and pestle. If you have a sissy mortar and pestle like I do, you might want to add in some salt to facilitate with the whole bashing up of this particular herbs and spices. So you want to smash this up until you have like a really smooth consistency. So now that's the end of the bashing phase. Let's move on to the cooking phase. We're going to put our wok on medium heat. We're going to add some oil. And now the bashed up herbs go straight into the pan. So keep this simmering on like a medium to low heat. It's okay to brown it just a little bit. And now we move on to slicing up the pork. I bought these real brilliant pork bellies this morning. I need you to cut it down into 1 cm strips. Now that my garlic and lemongrass have fully sauteed out, I'm going to add the pork into the pan. I'm going to increase the heat because I want to get some browning action onto the particular dish. And when we put in some water to start to stew it, it's going to really enhance the overall flavor. I'm going to add some additional flavor through a bashed up piece of lemongrass before we start the simmering process. So bash it on your cutting board a couple of times. This releases the natural oils, then dump it in your frying pan. Okay, so now that you have all the ingredients into your pot, I want you to add a little bit of water just to deglaze the pan. Kind of cover most of the meat, and at the same time you can add in a little bit of white pepper. You can add in a little bit of salt as well. Just a nice pinch of salt. Don't add too much salt because the Daoju is crazy salty. Now bring this mixture to a boil and then cover it and allow it to simmer for 30 minutes. So now while we wait for this to simmer, I'm going to move on to step 2 of this dish, which is to soak the Daoki. And it's as simple as soaking it in the pitcher of water. We're just going to let that soak for about 5 to 10 minutes, and that will be the ideal time for this. So now that we have simmered the meat for 30 minutes, we're going to add the main flavor addition, the Daoju. We're going to open up the pot and dump in half the bottle. Using the back of your spatula, I want you to mash it up and incorporate all these flavors into the stew. So now we have the flavored pork stew, nice and simmering. The last step is to add in the Daoki. We add that in, we stir it up, and we simmer for another 5 minutes, and it will be done. Now our pork stew with Daoju is done, and we just finish it with a little bit of lime, and it's ready to be served.